Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. TGIF. I know I am looking forward to the weekend. The sun is starting to come out here in the Midwest, so I am just glad because I don't know about y'all, but it just seems like the sun brings out better moods, better energy, and I'm definitely an outside person. My kids are outside kids, so I am so ready to get out in the sun. So I am looking forward to the weekend. While you are here, go ahead and show your girl some love by hitting the like button and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe. Those who follow my personal channel, I just posted a new video earlier today for non-phone Fridays. Those of you guys who do not know, I post remote jobs on my personal channel regularly. On top of that, I have how I manifested my fiance. So if you are having issues in your love life and you don't know how to attract love properly, feel free to check that out. I just did a video on tips specifically targeted for single mothers on how to attract their husband. I have vlogs, day in the life, all kind of stuff on my personal channel. But 2 to 3 times a week, I post remote jobs. And on Fridays, I do non-phone jobs for Fridays. Okay, so I posted 3 remote jobs earlier that are hiring, that are non-phone based. Yes, all of these companies are legit, y'all. I just had a girl comment on my video before last saying that she just got offered one of the jobs that I put in my description. And then I also had my significant other's sister speak to me yesterday on the phone talking about she just got reached out to by one of the positions that I offered on my channel as well. So I know how hard the market is. If you're looking for remote work, definitely feel free to check out my personal channel, and I will link that in the comments below. So today's video is going to be about my man was sleeping with my neighbor. These are some funny, just entertaining story time. So go ahead and check them out. I'll do a small commentary at the end.
Story time on how I found out that my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, was talking to my next door neighbor. Okay, yeah, so basically I stayed in this apartment complex and we knew everybody in the building. Like I love that apartment I stayed in because we knew everybody. When I say y'all, we knew everybody. We knew them from the top to the bottom, everybody. And we was super cool with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was cool. And I used to have a lot of parties at my house because I'm just that type of friend. They'd be like, girl, let's have a party this weekend. Because we all got to enjoy life, right? So this particular person, when I moved in, she thought I was mean or whatever. And it's so crazy because somebody went and got their hair done. And she told them that she felt like I was mean, right? Mind you, me and her never had no interaction. Like, we just used to walk past each other, see each other, and call it a day. Like, we didn't say nothing, nothing like that, because I'm friendly, but I'm just not gonna be like, oh, hey girl, like every time. No. So eventually, me and her end up, kicking it. I invite her over. I'm like, let's play cards, let's take some shots, let's smoke, let's do all this stuff like that. The typical me, because I'm a good time, right? So I used to invite her over. We used to play cards. It used to be a lot of us. We used to come up, like I told y'all, we knew everybody in the building. So they used to come up, we played cards, smoke hookah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? We just used to have a good time. I didn't know that my ex-boyfriend knew her sibling or something like that. It was something like that. So they already followed each other on Facebook, right? So the whole time, this had been going on for months. Like my ex-boyfriend would write her in her DM, and like I told y'all in my last video, that's what was with my kid's dad though. But y'all know I was telling y'all that I'm gonna take pictures so I can have facts, because men always talking about, oh my god, I didn't do that. Okay, so they used to come over, we used to have fun, and then when she would leave, he would write her on there and be like, what he gonna do to her and this, that stuff. Not really too much coming at her he was coming at her, don't get me wrong, but it was it was flirtatious, but it was why is you doing that? And that's the next door neighbor. So eventually I ended up finding out. I already kind of felt like it was a little something, but I didn't really, because she's I love all my beautiful black queens, but this particular neighbor, she wasn't looking like this. Okay, no shade, no tea, but she wasn't looking like this. So to downgrade was what? So of course I went through his phone. It was open. I went to his phone and I look and I'm like, what? I'm looking at the messages. I'm like it was times when I was out of town and Like, he would hit her up. You want to ride to the store? You want to do this? You want to do that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, just acting like that's your... Is it? So eventually I was like, I'm a girl's girl. And me, I feel like if your man or your baby daddy or if your girl, anybody come on to me and I know that's your significant other or I know you got some dealings with them, I'm going to let you know. That's just me. And a lot of women not like that, but I am, okay? Okay, so at this point, I had stopped talking to her, y'all. I stopped, like, inviting her over. Like, I literally was not dealing with her, y'all. Like, I was the girl that she was like, oh, she looks mean. She's mean, but didn't even know me. That's how I was. I was walking past her, didn't say nothing. It was just like, it was nothing. No conversation, no nothing. Okay, y'all, so I don't know when it was, how long it was, but it wasn't too much longer. Like, one of us had wrote each other on Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, sorry, y'all, Facebook. And we talked about it a little bit, and then, like, the next day, she came to my house and was talking to me about it or whatever. I didn't let her in. I just was at the door, and I was keeping it just like that. We was talking at the door. She tried to tell me everything then, but by then, you want to tell me now because I know. Why you couldn't tell me when it first started happening, knowing that it had been happening for months? So at that point, I didn't respect it because, like, why you want to tell me now because it's been talked about? Like, no, I just wasn't fooling with that. So we did talk about it, but at that point, he was already gone. I had told him he had to go, and this wasn't even for their situation. It was for something totally different. So that's why I was like, girl, he's telling me now, and he's not even here. And after that, and then after that, I really it be kind of hard to trust these women because it be like, girl, that's why I keep my circle really, really small because you never know who wants your man. You never know who entertaining it. You never know if it's ill will or anything. Like, they just be laughing in your face. You walk outside, they laughing in your face because you don't know what's going on. And then I'm a beautiful woman because I deserve way more and I know my value. So I had to let that situation go. But to all my ladies who's going through it now or anything, girl, leave that man because it ain't worth it. Because all you doing is going outside and them same females is laughing at you in your face and thinking they're your friend and thinking it's cool and funny, kiki, and the whole time your man is talking to them. I ain't doing that no more. So yeah.
I caught my husband having an affair with our neighbor. We were newly married. I literally married him after knowing him for 3 months. I know, first red flag. He bought a home for us in a really nice neighborhood. He came from money. And immediately after moving in, we realized we had some disagreements. First one being he thought that I was just going to give up my business and stop working as soon as we moved in together. This was just simply not going to happen for him. We argued about this all the time. This was like a huge fight in our relationship. Flash forward to about a week after moving in, our neighbors come over and invite us to dinner. Immediately I knew something was weird because the way my husband interacted with my neighbor's wife. Like the brief pause during introduction, it was almost like they knew each other because they did. We actually ended up having 3 or 4 dinners with them. And during one of those dinners, we're drinking, we're playing a little game to get to know each other. We actually find out that my husband and our neighbor's wife are actually from the same tiny little small town. Like I said, my husband's family is pretty wealthy and pretty well known in the town, but they just act like they don't know each other. So like I said, I had been working a lot of really late hours. And my husband was really just like not initiating any type of romance at all. I'm blaming myself because I'm working like crazy, so I think it's my fault. I was speaking to one of my girlfriends about this, and she recommended spicy cubes. Her and her husband take them before every date night, so I thought it'd be worth a try. So I get them and I gift them to my husband. He literally laughs in my face. He acts like I'm so silly for even wanting to try this. So I just dropped the whole thing. Flash forward to about 2 weeks later. I'm trying not to have a failed marriage, so I decide to surprise my husband and come home early from work that night. And this is where I find him in bed with our neighbor. I literally catch them red-handed, take a photo of them immediately, and the first thing that both of them do is beg me not to tell her husband. Yeah, my husband was more worried about his mistress's marriage than his own. I literally am like, we're done, we're getting a divorce. On my way out, I actually noticed the box of spicy cubes I had gifted him weeks prior open with 2 gummies out. And this is where I actually just see red and I lose it. I go back in there, I confront him with it. This man literally tries to gaslight me and tell me that it's my fault that any of this even happened because they ate the spicy cubes together and that's why the affair happened. Like, bro, come on. I'm literally appalled at this moment, and I'm like, why would you even eat those gummies with someone you weren't romantically involved with? That's the ironic thing here, is come to find out they were romantically involved. Because the next day, I call his sister, who I'm really good friends with, just to respectfully let her know I'm divorcing your brother. She actually fills me in on the tea that they actually do know the girl. They grew up with her, and my husband actually dated her for years. They were lovers. So they both just lied the whole time. No, but really, I think because they took the spicy cubes is the only reason they got sloppy with the whole thing, because God only knows how long that affair had actually been going on, and I didn't know. Because clearly they were planning something, why else would you lie? But where this comes full story is, on my way out, I had actually packed up all my stuff. I took those spicy cubes with me, and on the third day, I'm a blabbermouth. I told him the story, and he was like, well, let's take the spicy cubes. And now we're married. The moral of the story is, I guess, don't let your husband get in the way of finding your other husband. Don't marry someone if you've only known them for 3 months.
Morning, y'all. So I woke up and decided I wanted to apply my cluster lashes that I got off of Amazon for $13.99 and give y'all a story time on how I caught my baby daddy cheating with our neighbor, and he got in a whole relationship with her. Now, for context, before I even start this, me and my baby daddy are no longer together. We have not been together in a long time, and this is going to be kind of a long story. So if y'all want part 2, let me know at the end. So basically, me and my baby daddy, we were living together, and we were not in the best like space, and we were living in a duplex. Now, next door to the duplex, there was this girl that lived with our neighbor. So she wasn't actually our neighbor, but she lived with our neighbor. Now, in these duplexes, there was a set of 2 duplexes. So that means that there is 4 apartments. And we kind of stayed in the hood at the time because we were not like financially stable like that. And basically, I was going to work every day, and he was at home being a babysitter for the son that we have together. Now, I did have other kids prior to him, but they were in school. So basically, I would go to work every day, and I would come home, and there was this girl that they would be outside, like they would hang out together. Not him and the girl, but like the complex, the 4 apartments, they would go outside together. They were not working. So basically, they would party every night. They would throw parties. They would have parties. My baby daddy would be included. But I'm not the type of person that like to go to block parties or do stuff like that. Like, I'm an introvert. So once I got off of work, it was just like, okay, I'm tired. I'm going in the house. I'm not going to hang out with y'all. Y'all don't have to get up in the morning. They would be smoking and drinking, all of this stuff. So the girl started to, on the weekends, because I was off on the weekends, she started to like come to my house. And she knew that I would be tired, so she would be like, hey, can I take the kids to the park? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, it wasn't a problem. She was kind of like one of those troubled girls that you wanted to take up under your wing. So I was like, yeah, sure, you can take them to the park. And this went on for like weeks. She just wanted to take my kids to the park. She wanted to do stuff with the kids. So I was fine with that. And let me know if y'all want a part 2 to this story, because I'm going to start it over and y'all let me know. These are 20 so far. I have not added the second row to it. So in the second part, I'm going to go ahead and add the second row to it. But as y'all can see, they look full already. And I've only did 1 row. And I started with 20. And I'm going to put 18 in the corner of my eye. So this is part 2. So part 1, I was just letting y'all know how, we stayed next door to the girl. She would come and ask, she started to come and ask, can she get my kids? So I have and I was like, yeah, cool. Now the problem was, every time that my baby daddy would come around, she would act like mean and rude and like she didn't want to be around him. So I have this cousin, well, she's my cousin-in-law, that I'm really close to. And I would say, in-law, just going with a woman's intuition, I would be like, in-law, I really think that such and such, and my baby daddy is messing around. So I had this gut feeling for a while. So she was like, no, in-law, I don't think that he would do that to you. And I'm like, this girl just acts so weird. Like, she would come to my house and she would be all nice. She would try to, come get the kids, ask, can she take the kids here? Can she take the kids there? But when my baby daddy came around, she was mean as hell. Like, and again, she was somebody that you would want to take up under your wings, because you could tell she was misguided in life. So I'm like, okay, maybe he will not do me like this. Like, maybe, like I said, me and my baby daddy was not in a good space. So I had a 3-bedroom. I had an extra room at the time, and he was in the extra room. So we were not even on terms where, okay, we're having smacks. Nothing, none of that. Like, it was nothing. Like, we were not dealing with each other, but he would not leave my house. So if you want to stay there, you're going to do something. You're going to be the babysitter. It was kind of one of those things that I don't feel like he wanted to do right or change his life, but he didn't want nobody else to have me. So he wouldn't leave, and I couldn't make him leave, because in the state of Florida, you have to evict them. And again, like I said, we were not in the best place financially, and he had got his probation signed to my house. So when I was calling his probation officer, she was like, I can't make him leave. There's nothing I could do unless there's some type of abuse going on. Now, he knew how far to take it with the abuse. Like, he would do stuff like come in my room and stand over me at nighttime, shit like that. But he would never touch me, like, in order for there to be any bruises or nothing like that. He wouldn't do that. But anyways, back to this girl. So she would ask all the time, can she get the kids, la 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 la, all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, sure. I started to ask my in-law, do you think anything going on? She was like, I don't think, like, Market, your baby daddy is like, really obsessed with you. I don't think he'll do nothing like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm just overreacting. One day, this is when I had Facebook, because I haven't had Facebook in maybe, like, it's been about 8-9 years. But when I had Facebook, I get a message. Now, if you don't know somebody, your Facebook stuff go to a request box, or that's how it used to be. I don't know if it's still like that. I get a message, but the message is from his homeboy. So the homeboy texts me, and he was like, hey, now, mind you, this homeboy had already been trying to talk to me prior to, so I'm thinking this is what he's writing for. And he was like, hey, I need to holler at you. So I'm like, you don't need to holler at me by nothing. Next part. So like I told y'all in the second part, basically the homeboy ended up telling me he had something to tell me on Facebook. So I'm like, okay, what is it? Because at first I didn't even want to hear what he had to say. So he like, oh, he messing with that girl in your house while you be at work. So I'm like, I had already had the intuition that this was going on anyway, so it was believable. So I just went to my baby daddy. He was in the other room, and I said, hey, you messing with this girl? So he was like, nah, that ninja line. He just want to be with you, and he owe me money. That's why he telling you that. So I said, so he owe you money, so that's why he is telling on you? That don't even make sense. I said, but I want you out my house. So he was like, oh, I'm not going nowhere. So I ended up calling his PO, and I'm like, hey, how can we get this ball rolling with getting him out of my house? So she is like, well, the only thing that you can do to get him out your house is if he violates the terms of the probation. Other than that, in order for him to move, if he wants to go, he can, but it has to be approved. That he can't just leave and change his address. So I'm like, okay, so pretty much I'm stuck with him. So I asked her a question. I said, well, woman to woman, what is his terms and conditions of his probation? Because you know what I'm going through, but legally there's nothing that you could do about it. So she was like, well, he can't be on drugs, which he knew how to pass a drug test, so that wasn't nothing. She was like, oh, he can't be around any weapons. I'm a smart gal. So I'm like, oh, okay. At this time, I didn't have a pew pew. I wasn't licensed or anything. So I'm like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get a pew pew, and I am going to call her and let her know that I have it. So I went to the class. They had a class coming up that month. I went to the class. I went and bought a pew pew, and I let her know I have one. Change his address now. This was like maybe like a week at the end of that month. So yeah, I ended up getting him out of my house. He wasn't there anymore. He ended up actually going to be with the girl. So even though she was next door, even though she was next door at the neighbor's house, she ended up leaving because her and the neighbor had got into it. So she ended up leaving. And once he left, he decided that that's who he was going to be with. So that's what he ended up doing. But this is how my lashes turned out, y'all. I am going to seal them. They're still kind of wet. I got my fan. I'm trying to decide if I want them thicker or not. I am not going anywhere at all. But I just took my my install out because I'm getting braids again next week. So I took them out so I can go ahead and save my edges for my braids. So my hair is not done. So my motto is, if your hair not done, your lashes need to be done. But yeah, that's what happened, y'all. Thank you. So in this part, I just wanted to answer some stuff that y'all are asking, or some stuff that y'all want to know in y'all head, because that was like really quick. And I hate long dragged out story time, so I just posted all of the parts. But I wanted to answer some stuff for y'all. So what happened to the girl is one that I know y'all want to know. At the time, I did not know that they were going to be in a committed relationship. I did not know that. Once I got him out my house, I, in my head, didn't think he was going to leave my house and be in a relationship with her. But they ended up being in a relationship. How I found out that the relationship came about is basically I was getting phone calls like somebody was calling my phone private all the time, day in, day out. They would not stop calling, and at this time there was no do not disturb. So I would get prank phone calls all day long, all day long, all day long. So, but what I will say is sometimes they would call private, sometimes they would call straight through with a number. But it wasn't like an iPhone, so it was, and it wasn't a text now number, but it wasn't an iPhone, it was just an Android. So I never tried to figure out who it is until one weekend they was calling like back to back to back, and they would not stop calling my phone, but they were calling with their number. So I went to my neighbor. Oh, she was like, oh, I'm coming over there to fight you about my man. I'm like, what? I ain't even talking to nobody at this point. So what is you talking about? But again, I don't catch the girl voice over the phone. I went to my neighbor house that stayed next door that she lived with. Remember, they got into it, but she was living there. And I said, call this number because I'm trying to figure out who is this calling my phone saying that they want to fight about a man that I'm not even talking to no more. I don't know who man. I don't know what man you talking about. So she called the number. She looked at her phone. She said, this number pop up in my phone. This such and such, which is the girl. So I'm like, oh, wow. He really in a relationship with her. But anyways, that's how I ended up finding out that they were in a relationship. Y'all, that was long and dragged out, like with the situation with her. We got in a fight. This girl flat my tires. Like, this girl was harassing me every chance she got. Like, and I'm not a confrontational person. I'm a person that I'll stand my grounds, but I'm not a confrontational person. She would come to my house and she would flat my tires, but let me know if y'all want the story behind all of that. That's other drama.
Okay, I'm going to make this short because it was only 3 stories. I was going to include more stories, but since the last story was kind of long, I didn't feel like it was necessary. But I've noticed a trend with these stories, and then also some of the stories that I did not include in this TikTok compilation, but was also on TikTok, that these women be cool with the neighbors who end up doing this kind of stuff. And I feel like that's wild, because some people don't have any type of relationship with their neighbors. Like, they don't know their names, they don't say hi, they don't do none of that. But then the ones that you get cool with so happen to do stuff like this. So at the end of the day, we cannot trust these HOESs, okay? But we also can't trust these men either. Like, you bold enough to sleep with my next door neighbor? Like, wow. No morals, no values, no standards. Like, you just that bold to just go ahead and be with my neighbor, sleep with my neighbor. Like, that's just wild to me. That's crazy. Both parties obviously are wrong in that. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. But it don't matter, honestly, if it's your neighbor, if it's your best friend, if it's your cousin. Men who are low vibrational are going to operate that way because they don't have any morals, they don't have any values. That's why y'all already know that when I speak about dating, I've said more than once that you need to make sure that you are on the highest frequency before you start to date, because if you are on a lower vibration, you will attract lower vibrational men who will do stuff like this. But if you are on a higher vibration, meaning that you have leveled up on every aspect, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, like you are on a operating at a certain frequency, that's what you will attract more of. Okay, so be careful out here when y'all are dating and getting to know people. Definitely pay attention to them neighbors. Don't be friendly because you know how some of them can be, even if they married or in a relationship. Okay, but let me know what y'all think. Have y'all ever had any crazy neighbor stories? Let me know. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all in the next one, and have a good weekend.